Welcome. Welcome. What do you think? I couldn't be happier myself. I want to thank the Masons for being as generous as they have been and making us welcome here. They have been very busy here the last couple of weeks getting everything in place for this service to happen. Couple things I want to tell you about the facility. Parking. Parking's important. There's about 20 spaces in the back. We are working on agreements with local businesses for overflow parking. For right now, you want to park on the street or at the empty businesses that are about a block down the road. I am parked at the bank across the street, and we have a verbal agreement from them to use their parking. And the realtors, Vanguard next door, have said okay to us, overflow parking there as well. So we have plenty of parking. Let's see, there's a red curb out front. So if you're dropping somebody off or you're handicapped, my suggestion is to go around the building on the driveway there, all the way around to the other side here and park or stop right there, and there's a handicap ramp right up to the door. You want to enter from either the front door there or the stairs there if you're coming up from the parking lot. We have, well, that door is closed right now, but there's a stairway in the back there. I don't recommend coming up that way.
And we're going to shut the door so you can't.
Well, we've got it open for air at the...
The lighting.
Okay.
You know.
We have some things to work out, as you can tell, but this is a soft opening. We're going to feel our way into it. We're not doing coffee today or an altar, and the main reason for that is we're all going to leave here as soon as service is over and go to Pixley Park and celebrate with Jay and Mary, right?
Yes.
Okay. Say that again?
Did you say Pixie?
I said Pixley Park by the Corte Madera Rec Center.
That's the name of it. I never knew that.
That's the name of it, Pixley Park. There is another park that I discovered called Piper Park. It's in Larkspur proper, and it's also very nice. So if we and it's closer to here. So if we do that sort of thing again, my vote would be that park. All right. Wow. Music?
Let's see.
I forget the routine here. It's been so long. So,
Me.
our music director, Karen Drucker.
I think we're going to figure it all out today, so it's all good. So, welcome, everybody. I don't know what to do. Imagine me in a box, but I actually have legs, and I'm a person now. So do me a favor. Look around the room right now. Just look around at this community. Put your hands up like this as just a welcome. So this will be the first time in 15 months that I'm going to be able to hear you all sing with me, and I'm just going to probably break into tears, but it's going to be good. So I'll teach you this one if you don't know it. Oh, Mother God, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for the hands in the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. That's the whole thing right there. Oh, Mother God, flowing through our hearts, we give thanks for the bread of our lives, for the hands in the earth, and the fruit of your womb. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. Let's do that again. Oh, Mother God, blessed be. One more time on that one. Oh,
up and say hello to each other.
Greet your neighbor, greet your neighbor. Say hello and greet your neighbor. Greet your neighbor, greet your neighbor. Stand up and say hello.
So much joy. You have to call them back now. Have them sit down and turn off their cell phones.
Okay, everybody, come on back now. Come on back. Sit on down. Sit on down. Sit on down. Sit on down. Feels good, doesn't it? Real live people. All right, let's sit down. We can talk more later and hug. Let's get ready for our meditation time, shall we? Oh my goodness, it's so nice to see you all. All right, so let's
Please
get in that place.
silence your cell phone. Just put it on vibrate.
Put it on vibrate. Put it on vibrate. All right, so put everything off your lap. Let's just get ready for a little meditation. Brand new little chant for you to learn. Very easy. Stop whatever you're doing and drop into that place that knows the truth and pray. Stop and drop 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 and pray. That's the whole thing. So sing that with me one time. Stop and drop and pray. 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 Let's sing it one more time. Stop and drop and pray. 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 Just that last line, stop and drop. I'm gonna stop and drop and pray. One more time. I stop and drop and pray.
Just letting the music flow through us as the infinite life expressing. Stop and drop and pray as I lean into this magnificent infinite life, allowing it to express itself by means of me. The mighty absolute all in all continues to create out of itself, even in this moment. Its omnipresence is creating through each one. I know that it is the life within me. It is the life within each one. It is the power of creation within each one. So I speak my word for myself and each one, and I claim an opening in consciousness right now for a deep and resonant realization of the magnificent, absolute, breathtakingly exquisite life which continues to seek greater self-expression by means of each one. Even in this moment, its allness, its perfection, its wholeness is circulating through everyone for a new way of knowing the truth and a new way of being alive in its fullness. So I accept for each one that the life within them is always leading and guiding them for deep and new ways of expressing itself in magnificent wholeness and perfection and love. And I call forth a blessing on each one right now in a container of divine love, in unity consciousness, for the highest possible good and the greatest love ever known. And I give thanksgiving for the opening that takes place in consciousness right now for more love and more good and more life that's demonstrated here today and everywhere. And I release my word to the law of mind, which envelops my word into itself, bringing it into form for full expression, for full life. And so it is. Amen.
And so it is.
Stop and drop and pray. Stop and drop and pray. Stop and drop and pray. Stop and drop and pray.
All right, hold on to your seats. So Mary's going to be talking about what's a no, what's a yes, what's your vision. And here's one of my favorite songs about that. I've spent my life with the disease to please, saying yes when I really meant no, 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 no. But now I've seen the light, and I feel the time is right. There's something I need for you to know. And oh is my new yes. When I say no, I'm saying yes to me, yeah. And oh is my new yes. When I say no, I set myself free. That's your part next time around. I've been living my life, living to please, full of effort and struggle, and not enough ease. I've been such a good girl, but now I know when I'm untrue to me, I lose a piece of my soul. And oh is my new yes. When I say no, I'm saying yes to me, yeah. And oh is my new yes. When I say no, I set myself free. I thought to be light, I had to be nice, doing what others wanted, but I was paying up.
Oh my gosh, here we are. Yay! This is so exciting. I'm a little nuts. I was up until about 3:30 in the morning, actually working because I kept remembering things that I actually needed to do for Sunday that I haven't done in so long that I hadn't remembered them. And so I thought, oh, I've got this done, I've got that done, and then suddenly I went, oh, wait a minute. I need a slide cue sheet. I need a running order. I had to find them, and then I had to update them. I mean, it was a whole comedy of errors. So I actually considered staying up, which you're fortunate that I did not do. But I can't promise I won't nod off in the middle of the talk here, so just hang in here with me. We'll hope for the best. The first thing I want to do is thank Reverend Dr. Lloyd Tupper, our founding minister, and Sue Ruda, one of our practitioners right here, who provided us with this beautiful flower arrangement this morning. And I want to direct your attention to the theme for the year, because I haven't mentioned it really in quite a while. So we started off this year with a theme, all of us in Centers for Spiritual Living for 2021, which was Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. So how do we hold the wisdom of the past and engage in a vision for the future at the same time without carrying too much forward that should have been let go, or leaving too much behind that we actually needed to bring with us? And so this month, the theme, which I love, is pulled by vision. I can make that show. There it is. Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith said, pain pushes until the vision pulls. And so we're looking at the idea of being pulled by something so much that it moves us out of our resistance and through it into commitment. Now, how many of you, be honest, how many of you have resistance sometimes? Never, Frances, yeah. So I brought out this little cartoon that I've had for years and years. I found it a long time ago, and I stuck it in one of my talk files. It's a little black and white cartoon that got copied and copied and copied. And it's a picture of a guy sitting in an armchair. And as he's sitting in the armchair, he's saying to himself, I'm going to get up and clean the basement. Yep, I'm going to get up. Here I go. This is me getting up. Upsy daisy. But he never moves. And the caption underneath says, the power of positive thinking is no match for the power of negative doing. So sometimes people accuse us of being a little bit airy-fairy about what's possible, and thinking we can always manage to pull something off, even though we're not actually doing the things we need to do to be doing that. It's all like talk. And so today I want to talk about commitment and resistance. So my talk title is, which is stronger, commitment or resistance? Now, if you're like me, I always say that the answer to all metaphysical questions is yes and no. So, which is stronger? Yes, both of them. No, neither of them, because it always depends on so many things, right? So when we're looking at the difference between, there's today's talk, right there. When we're looking at the difference between yes and no, no, for me, is digging in my heels, right? I am not going to be dragged forward to what you want, and or digging in my heels like you're not going to push me into whatever it is you want. Now, when I'm in that kind of resistance, it usually means that something or someone, I feel, is pushing or pulling me. Can anybody relate to this? And I feel scared or angry or manipulated, or I disagree, or I am stuck in inertia and I don't want to get out of inertia, or I'm just unwilling to move. Can anybody relate to this? Okay, I'm grateful because particularly when it comes to physical exercise. Now, some of you I know are, Karen swims every day of her life. Amanda works out, she does her dance, she does her exercises, she takes care of her knees, she does all of that. She goes on walks every single day and is completely committed to that. Me, not so much. So I'm reminded of Jamie Paolinetti, who said, limitations live only in our minds. But if we use our imaginations, our possibilities become limitless. And Lao Tzu, who said, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. So to the degree that I'm in resistance, I may be cutting off possibilities or opportunities. Now, Karen was singing about yes and no, saying yes to yourself, saying no to something. I was, like Karen's song says, I was a people pleaser. As I've gotten older, I've been more willing to say no to things or to just say how I'm feeling about something than I used to. But there are good no's and bad no's. So a good no is like Karen's song, when you're saying yes to yourself, really, by saying no to something that is not appropriate, not timely, doesn't match up with the rest of your life or whatever it is. A bad no is when you're saying no out of pure stubbornness just because you're in resistance. And I have been known to do that. Now, yeses, on the other hand, tend to lead to commitments. Yes, though, to lead to a commitment has to be a persistent yes. So a commitment is a series of yeses. It's like a choice that happens over and over and over again for a yes. That becomes a commitment. And what causes me to make a commitment is that it sets me on fire somehow. It ignites something in me that is bigger than me. So I see the vision or the possibilities, and I'm pulled into it. I used to say, and actually I discovered not too long ago that this is actually still true, although I thought I'd outgrown it, but not so much, that I used to say that what the universe does when it's time for me to really grow in a big way is that it spins me around until I become dizzy. And then it backs me in so that I can't see what's coming. Because if I could see what was coming, I would dig my heels in or run the other way or hide under the bed. So it backs me in, and I'm a little disoriented, and I eventually get myself turned around so I see where I am, and I say, oh, well, this isn't so bad. And then I'm ready to go forward. So sometimes I've learned this about myself so that I sometimes look for a way to trick myself so that I will go forward when I feel like I should, but my resistance is up. When I'm in that kind of commitment, where I really have made a series of yeses, and it's a yes that's persisting, like I'm continuing to make that yes again and again and again, generally I feel that I have something that I want to express or share or give that's so important that I need to do it. Or I want to choose to be dependable. I want to choose to be somebody who can be counted on, who can be relied upon. And so I make that choice so as not to let others down, but also because I have that commitment. But the support of others causes me to go further into it. Sometimes it's a connection to a group of people and their goals. So because they have strong commitments, it helps pull me forward and keeps me going. And I want to be a part of. So that which begins to pull me forward allows me to feel like I'm connected, like I belong, because I'm sharing this with other people. Ernest Holmes, our founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, said, to overcome fear is the greatest adventure of the mind of man. To overcome fear is the greatest adventure. And Deepak Chopra wrote in You Are the Universe, every day, our actions exist on the cutting edge of evolution. So we're talking about evolutionary vision this month, right? Every day our actions exist on the cutting edge of evolution, the frontier, where the mind is caught between caution and curiosity. Where the mind is caught between caution and curiosity. So we move into this place of discovering which of these two things is going to be, oh, I thought I went there already. Well, I talked about that. There we go. So the question is, which one will win? My resistance or my commitment? Which one will win? Well, one of the things that's likely to happen is that the one that will win is the one that is my habit. So if my habit is resisting and saying no more often than I go with the commitment or the risk, or I push past the resistance and say yes, that most likely will be what I will default to, is the resistance. If I'm one of those people who's a risk taker, who always wants to take a bite out of life and see what the next possibility is and go toward it, then that will be my default. The twist is, if I'm aware of that and something shows up in front of me that I somehow know deserves my consideration, then I need to think about, can I make a choice that is uncomfortable? Can I consciously make that choice? And can I persist in making that choice, even though it continues to be uncomfortable or scary? This fellow, I don't know who he is, Dr. Sunil Raheja, said, so to live with intention starts with a deliberate, conscious choice to pursue a particular course of action or direction. The challenge is that we have to live with deliberate intention every day, or it's so easy to go off course. Anybody in here ever been on a diet? Do you ever make exceptions when you're on the diet? Like, well, I could have dessert today. Now, if you know about 12-step programs, you know that what would really be better to say is, well, today, just for today, I won't have dessert. Just for today. Instead of making the exception. But, the tendency is we talk ourselves into those exceptions like, well, once isn't going to hurt, right? So the challenge that we have is to live with deliberate intention every day, or it is so easy to go off course. He says living with intention is made up of many conscious choices every day, many conscious choices. So this then depends on, am I going to choose the risk or am I going to stay safe? Which one is my choice? And I might be supported then or buoyed up in making that choice by my community, by the commitment of the group I'm part of, or that I feel the rightness of it so much that even though it's scary, I'm going to choose to do that. I'm going to show up at that town hall meeting, or I'm going to show up at that demonstration, or I'm going to write that letter, whatever it is, even though it scares me to do that, because it feels to me like the right thing to do. And I also have to look at, can I overcome my inertia, my fear, my unwillingness, and make that choice? Now, yeses and nos, right? There are also good and bad yeses, just like there are good and bad nos. So a good yes is one that takes you forward into these possibilities and allows for a greater vision to come forward. A bad yes is, I don't want to do this, but I really want you to like me. And I don't like saying no. That feels really bad. So I'm going to say yes and hope that you have sense enough to read my mind and know that I really don't want to do this, so that you will let me off the hook. Now, the problem with that kind of yes is that what it does eventually is it digs us into this place of resentment and feeling unappreciated and used and put upon when the other person has no idea that that's what we're feeling. Because we said yes so enthusiastically at the beginning. At least I know that I have done that. Sometimes we have to balance the yes and no with our discernment about our own life. When I was a relatively young minister and my son was in grade school and I was up in Santa Rosa, Reverend Dr. Peggy Bassett, who was the president of all of United Centers for Spiritual Living, which it was at that time, called me up and said, I have arranged with Jean Houston to do a special series of days and workshops for ministers. This will advance us in our consciousness and it will help us bond together, and I would like you to be a part of it. And it meant that I would be traveling down to Los Angeles, down to Orange County, on a regular basis once a month for these meetings with these ministers. And I was somehow aware, I don't remember why at the time, that my son needed me home more than he needed to be with somebody else once a month for this series. And I had to weigh that against the potential of what was being offered to me. Here was this luminary, Jean Houston, and this was back at the time when she was like the biggest, and there was Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and Jean Houston. This was before Marianne Williamson. And so there was really a pull to do that, because that would have been a good thing. And I said no. And I still don't regret it. I feel like that was a good no. And the way I talked myself into that no, because I really wanted to say yes, was I said, you know what? If this is for me, there will be another opportunity for me to do this. Otherwise, I don't really need to do it anyway. And I'm just going to let it go. And I made actually a clear decision to say no, surprising myself quite a lot in the process. But I think that it did turn out to be the right thing, because I know at other times in my ministry, I chose the church over my son at a time when I should not have done that. You know, there are times in the ministry where family has to step back, but not always. And so for us, you know, just like for you in your lives with your work and your projects, there's a place of trying to balance that and find the way. Which one is the way that's going to take us forward? What do we really want to find there? So now, if I were you, I might be saying at this point, okay, that's all very nice, Reverend Mary. So what? You know, commitments, resistance, yeses, nos, we all have them. So what? Here's my thought about so what. I think that our everyday life is a rehearsal for the invitation to the sacred yes. And in order for us to get ready to say yes to something that is that big, that's calling to us, we need the practice day to day of choosing our yeses and our nos, our commitments and our resistances. We need the practice of getting really good at that and discerning the right yeses and the right nos, so that when that sacred calling comes, and it will come more than once in our lives in different aspects, when it comes, we will be ready to take that leap into the sacred yes. Now, I put up this picture of Machu Picchu on purpose because for many years, I wanted to go to Machu Picchu. And when I left the church in Santa Rosa to move to the Huntington Beach Church in Orange County, the church in Santa Rosa gave me a gift, which was a certain amount of money to go toward the trip to Peru I had said I wanted to go on, to go to Machu Picchu. And as it turned out, United Centers for Spiritual Living did a conference in Peru, in the Sacred Valley, where one of those days was a trip to Machu Picchu. And so I got to go. But what I didn't know in advance was what the preparation for that sacred journey would be for me. Because I got to Peru, and we're in the Sacred Valley, and we're at altitude, and the night before we're supposed to go to Machu Picchu, I got deathly ill. Everything was coming out in every direction, and we won't go into more detail. It was not a pleasant night. So when the morning came, I talked to the tour director on the phone, and I said, I don't know if I can go. And I wasn't going to eat breakfast. No. But I decided I came all this way to go to Machu Picchu, and I am going. So I got on the train, still very nauseous. I got on the train. At one point, I got up from my seat, just green, went over and sat in one of the stairwells to the exit doors, which was right next to the bathroom, because unfortunately somebody was in there. And I was just, weaving. And all of a sudden, from behind me, I heard a woman's voice and a pair of hands that came in front of my face like this. And she said, just breathe. And when I breathed, there was something I smelled that was strong and familiar, but I didn't know what it was at the time. Turned out it was rubbing alcohol, just rubbing alcohol. She put her hands in front of my face with this rubbing alcohol, and my stomach went, whew. Never had an experience like that before. Then she put it on a bunch of cotton balls, and she said, just take this to your seat with you, and anytime you feel a little woozy, just hold it up and take a breath or two. That got me to Machu Picchu. When I came back from that tour, I was talking to a man at the Huntington Beach Church who was Apache. And he said, well, we've been praying for you for your sacred journey to Machu Picchu, to that calling. How did it go? And I told him the story, and he laughed and laughed and laughed. And I said, why is that funny? And he said, because it's this classic shamanic initiation. And I went, really? I got to tell you, it did not feel like anything sacred when it was happening to me. But because of that, I was so emptied out when I went up on the mountain that there was nothing in me available to resist, because I was kind of semi out of my body in this sacred place. So I think I was more available to the experience because of this very profound cleansing that I had experienced the night before. Sometimes, and I should tell you, because this isn't true for everybody, and I apologize to those of you who are watching this on tape too, having to hear this, but I am one of those people who truly would rather die than throw up. I mean, if I had a choice, probably I would say, take me now, But that was not the choice that was given to me. So I think that our everyday life is a rehearsal for being able to say the sacred yes when the opportunity arises. So our life is a preparation for that sacred yes. And sometimes the resistance that we feel is because we imagine something that isn't there. This little story comes from a fellow named Pierce Eckhart. I don't know who he is, but I love this. He says, when I was a Boy Scout, we played a game with the new scouts when they joined the troop. We lined up chairs in a pattern, creating an obstacle course through which the new scouts, blindfolded, were supposed to maneuver. So the scoutmaster gave them a few moments to study the pattern before the adventure began. And then they put the blindfolds on them. But he says, as soon as the victims, he says, were blindfolded, the rest of us quietly removed all the chairs. He says, I think life is like this game. Perhaps we spend our lives avoiding obstacles we have created for ourselves and in reality exist only in our minds. We're afraid to apply for that job, take violin lessons, learn a foreign language, call an old friend, write to our congressman, whatever it is that we would really like to do, but we don't because of personal obstacles. Don't avoid any chairs, he says, until you run smack into one. And if you do, at least you'll have a place to sit down. Grant Fraser said, life is full of obstacle illusions. I appreciate both of those things. Life is full of obstacle illusions. Yeah, we think it's there, but maybe it's not. When we open to yes, we have the opportunity then to receive the gifts that are in that sacred yes. So we might ask ourselves the question then, how is the vision, how can it do enough to pull me through my resistance? How is the vision going to do that? Well, it does it in a couple of ways. First of all, it engages both our fear and our yearning. So we feel the pull. We really feel the pull at the same time that we feel the fear. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Okay, you with me here? Yeah? And the pull does not go away. It's persistent. Just when you think you've managed to neutralize it, you're ignoring it, it's working just fine, and then suddenly, there it is again, that pull. And we find that we want to say yes. In spite of the fear, we want to say yes. So we want to dare to reinterpret that experience of fear. We want to dare to reinterpret it so that we're instead saying to ourselves, the reason I'm afraid is because this is important. It's trying to get my attention because this thing matters. It is meaningful. And the experience of fear is there to tell me to pay attention to this and to proceed with caution, but to proceed. So when we go forward, we might discover more is available than what we thought. That even more is trying to call us forward. Black Elk describes it this way. He says, the song and the drumming were like this. Behold, a sacred voice is calling you. All over the sky, a sacred voice is calling. And Richard Harvey said, one thing you can be sure about, your own vision is the only one for you. Your own vision is the only one for you. And so what I'm hoping will come out of this time and this talk is the idea that you want to practice to be ready when you're called to your sacred yes so that you don't skip over it out of fear. And I know that you've already done it before in your lives, which has been preparing you for the next one, which might be even bigger, and the next one, which might be even bigger. And every one of those draws us into a place that expands our spirit and reaffirms our reason for taking birth in the first place and being here. Because it wasn't just to hang out with a bunch of souls we really love for X number of years and then, pack up and move on. That's great. But we were here for more. We were here for the sacred yes. So Dina Metzger said this a long, long time ago, actually. She was talking about a workshop that she did on personal disarmament, internal disarmament, negotiating with the inner government. And this was reprinted in a magazine, and it so touched me and seemed so important that I've kept this little bit of it all this time, and I'm going to close with this today. She says this, once in a personal disarmament workshop, a man who had been a peace activist had to confront the extremity of his distrust of others. Gently, I raised the analogy to the disarmament table. I suggested that the officials who sat at that table trying to reach agreements were just as distrustful, suspicious, and injured as he was. He was broken by this realization. and confessed that he couldn't, in their place, conscientiously advocate weakening the defense system. Yet he had advocated disarmament all his life. Admittedly, if he were in their position feeling the way he did, he would have to say, more bombs. For a while, he lived with rage and humiliation. And then he began looking in himself for whatever was possible to allow him to trust. He found inner defenses that were not aggressive. He began to validate inner security so that he could come to the negotiating table in a wholehearted manner. He did not disregard potential dangers or fears, but he did develop confidence by reviewing his own history and validating what sustained more than what undermined, until he was willing to take a risk. When he returned to the ranks of peace activists, he had a new authority. He had found a way to test the sincerity of his political positions, as well as a way to reconstruct his inner world so that it accorded with his principles. Now that, to me, is huge. That this man could confront an inner conflict with a value he'd held all his life, with his own inner resistance and fear, and recognize that those two things were not compatible, and one of them had to go. Which one was it going to be? And because he was at that place in his life where he was willing to feel the humiliation and the rage and the shock of discovering that, he was able to go back and find his way through it. So that's what I would like for us to be able to do ourselves in our own lives, is to find our way through that. So I want to invite you now to join me in this affirmation for today. So let's stand up and say this together, and then we'll pray. Join me in saying this, because you can see it. A rebirth of community is happening in my life today. I welcome it with joy. I celebrate reconnecting with dear ones and new friends, honoring them all. Resistance melts as my community returns. Resistance melts as my spiritual community returns. Yes. Let's have a seat, and I will give us a little prayer here to anchor this inside us. So I invite you to take a moment now to just breathe and feel the aliveness in the room. Feel the awareness sparkling all around us. The entire universe celebrates our presence together again, here, right now. I know that there is one infinite life, beingness, presence, essence, mystery. It is right here. All of it is right here, right now, in this moment, in this place, in me, in each one of us. The wholeness we call God is here in its completeness. And yet it is still unbounded by time or space or history or opinion or limitation of every kind. And this is the truth of us. So no matter what we thought we were limited by, we step over that boundary today into Spirit's truth. And we let that truth live in us in a deeper way, carrying us over our fears and resistances when it's best to say yes, and letting us step into commitments with a sense of the irresistible, compelling pull that brings us toward that sacred yes, day by day, moment by moment. And we do recognize that sacred opportunity when it comes, we do step over that threshold with joy and gratitude, knowing that we are ready, even in the fear, even in the resistance, that we are ready. This is true of all of us here in this room, of our dear ones who are not here with us in this room at this moment, for those who have passed, and for humanity. This is true in every place right now where there is fire and there are firefighters, where there is cataclysmic disaster because of global warming, because of internal and external strife or illness, because of mental confusions. We know that in spirit, a delay is not a denial. And so we call forth resolution and healing and guidance for every one of these places and people and situations, and for ourselves. Resolution and healing and guidance. And we let go into it. We let go. We put down the resistance and defenses. We let it go. And so we let this prayer go into the creative law, which acts upon it immediately, automatically, and perfectly, bringing this forward into form and being and experience. We give it over to the law. We let it go. We simply let it be. And together we say, and so it is. So it is. So this is the time of our sacred offering. And even though I've been giving automatically during all this time that we've been away, I decided this morning I really wanted to bring my check to the service. I really wanted to bring it and give it right here. Now, we're not passing the offering baskets today because we didn't actually know how many ushers we had. So what we did was we set up this one basket up here. And what we're going to do is bless the offering. And then we're going to invite you, unless you want to try and pass it, Paula, we're going to... I think that there are people might have difficulty getting to the basket, in which case I could take the basket to them. Okay, great. So I think what we'll do is then maybe you can just carry it down the center aisle or something. You want to try that? Okay. And so I just want to remind you that if you want to text to give, that's how you do it. You text to this phone number, just the number. No $, no decimal point, just the number of what you want to donate, and they'll take it from there. So you can do that anytime, but you can certainly do it easily on Sunday morning. And it's 844-278-3594, okay? I want to make sure you can do it, those of you that are doing it, before I change this, this slide, because I see people with their phones. Okay. All right, so we're going to bless this offering together in unison by saying this. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. And so I'm going to put mine in the basket, and Paula will just walk down the center aisle, and if you have something you want to put in the basket, it'll go in right then. Yeah. Okay. And I believe that it's all yours.
Not yet where I'm supposed to be, and I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something that I've never seen before. I feel the call of something more, and I feel that call, and it's asking me, what am I here for? that pain pushes till the vision pulls. Feels like my safety nets have fallen down. I wish I had a map of where I'm supposed to go, but I got this feeling in my soul that when I get there I will know, and I feel that call of something more. I feel the call of something that I've never done before. I feel the call of something more. And I feel that call, and it's asking me, what am I here for? What am I here for? What am I here for? What am I here for now? What am I here for? 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 It's all about love, just giving love, just being love, being with my community and saying it's love. We're here for love. Let's all love. It's all about love. Love.
Yes. So wherever that basket went, I just want to say, let me get up here so I'm not talking from the void. Wherever the basket went for this morning, we just, all of us, together here for the first time in 16 months, we do together as a community accept gratefully that offering. And we know that we as a community are guided in our use of that sacred gift to send it out into the world to bless everywhere that it goes. And so it is. All right. So I want to thank our teams, and really, I have everybody in the world to thank. But I've only put up the basics of the Sunday group this morning. And I want you to know that we were all here a week ago Monday for several hours testing stuff out and trying to figure out if it was going to work and saying, oh, there's no light. What are we going to do? Well, we haven't fixed that yet. You're lit. Us, not so much. So we need to work on that a little bit. But I want to thank the staff. Our staff has been amazing at keeping everything going. Sonia's here this morning. This is our administrator, Sonia, in the back. Pat Malone, who many of you know, our graphics genius, and she takes care of all the donations and contribution records and everything. Ivania, our bookkeeper, and Karen, our music director, who kept me sane during all this time. Our sacred practitioners, our sacred circle of practitioners, who, God bless them, I hope you know, they've been praying for all of us twice a week, every week, online together this entire time. And here we are, So thank you, practitioners. That was amazing. And I want to thank William and Jim. And I really, really want to pile a whole lot of thanks on William because, hallelujah, thank you, God. We would not have made it through all those months on Zoom without William, who became a tech genius. And Dana and Rick, who were here, the guys from the Masonic, who were here with us all of Monday. We just had a great crew here. I want to thank all those people. So onward now to our announcements. First of all, we have 2 brand new practitioners. Stand up, girls. Come on up here. Come on up here. Come on. So, yeah. Yay.
feels good up here.
Yeah. So Rachel DePaula and Suzanne Dubois are our two newly minted licensed practitioners. And so you are going to see them over there at the prayer table. They are also going to be team teaching the foundations class with me, which is coming up in September. So even if you're a member and you took foundations 100 years ago, or if you're brand new and you don't know what the heck we're all about, this foundations class is going to be really fun and really great. And these two are amazing teachers, so I may just put my bedroom slippers on and let them do it. But it's going to be really, really good, so I hope that you will sign up. Registration is going to start in August. So thanks, girls. Welcome. Yes. That foundations class is going to begin September 21st and go till November 23rd. It's on Tuesday nights from 6 to 10. I'm not quite sure if we're doing it live or doing it on Zoom. I don't know. We'll see. We may be doing it a hybrid version, actually, of it. There are no prerequisites for that class, and it only has one textbook. Registration will start next month, so we'll tell you more about that then. So that's this one. That's coming up very soon. The new member class, for those of you who have heard that we're teaching it, I'm going to be running to the new member class on Zoom after the picnic, or maybe toward the end of the picnic today. And then the next 2 weeks, it'll be from 1 to 3, but it's a little later today. But that is coming up. And Quick Start, the workshop, the free workshop, Quick Start, 2 hours, is coming up with Marilyn Letzos. That will be, I believe, at the community center from 12:30 to 2:30 on August 22nd. And, of course, our Hello Goodbye picnic today in honor of Mary Cosgrove and Jay Gustafson is happening at the, what's the name of that park? Pixley Park, which is the park right next to the Corte Madera Community Center. West side of the park. I don't know from east and west, so it's Frank says the west side of the park. So Mary and Jay, would you stand up? We love these two so much. They've been involved here forever. They've been volunteers. They've been leaders. They've been stuff disturbers when necessary. And just all good things, all good things. So the picnic is in honor of them because they're going to be moving to the East Coast next week? Soon, yeah. So please come and celebrate them with us, and that'll be right after this. And then finally, I want to let you know that although we're not doing a Sillamar yet, again, as a summer conference, Centers for Spiritual Living is doing an online summer conference for 2 days in August. And right now, the early bird pricing is available for 1 more week. So it's $99 for those 2 days for all of the music and speakers and workshops and everything that's going to be online. And I understand they're also sending out a swag bag. So, if you're curious about the swag bag, you might want to register. I don't know. So that's coming up. That's all coming up. And so we invite you to consider that. Okay. All right, it's time for the benediction. So please stand and join me for the benediction. And we'll just take a moment. I invite you to take hands with each other right now. And just breathe. Whoops, Just breathe. Feel the life in the hand you're holding. Gosh, it's been a long time since you could hold hands with people, right? And so in gratitude, let's do this benediction together. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For His Spirit and all people and I are one eternally. And so it is. Yes. And remain standing. You know this one. Karen's going to lead us through the closing song.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. That's it now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Sing one more time. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. 3 times. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. Last time. We are making a new world now. And so it is.